Hello and welcome back, everyone. This is Mike. I'm the founder and CEO of SuiteDash. In this video, we'll continue the first principles training. So far, we've looked at the portal overview, and now we're going to move into what is really the core of the platform itself, and that is the CRM. As most of you know, CRM stands for Customer Relation Management or Customer Relationship Management. Essentially, it's a database of your customers that can be used in a variety of ways. In this video, we're going to take a look at the most important concepts. By no means is this an exhaustive, deep dive into the CRM so that you'll know every single thing about it at the end of this video. This video is meant to just get you familiar with these core concepts, these first principles, so that you can build on those as you start to imagine and design the operating system of your business. Okay, so let's go ahead and review what we'll be looking at here, these foundational concepts. First, we'll talk about the CRM target roles and what a subscriber is, and we'll get into that in just a second. Next, we'll have some discussion about whether a target is ready for your CRM or not ready for your CRM in the context of the roles and what they mean. Then we'll talk about companies versus contacts, really important subject there. We'll define what a primary contact is and what that means. We'll look at the very powerful capabilities of SuiteDash that allows contacts to have multiple companies, and then the contact can switch between companies, etc. We'll explore the super important concept of circles, and then we'll talk about what a coordinator is and what that means. All right, so let's get started. Okay, let's talk about CRM target roles and subscribers in the context of our target audience, which we talked about before, this mass of people out on the internet that we don't know yet, that we are trying to move towards your organization. So let's think about this as moving them through a series of steps towards your CRM with the ultimate goal of making them a client in your CRM, which means they are now paying you, you are doing business with them, and that, of course, is the ultimate goal. Along that journey, the very first step might be, it's the most surface relationship that you can have with a target, and that is the case that they are a subscriber, what we call a subscriber. A subscriber is related to our marketing toolkit. It's someone that is added to a marketing audience, which means you can send them email marketing or drip campaigns, etc. So they might come to you through your website, through a sign-up form that adds them to a market audience, and then they become a subscriber. Typically, this person has not made any steps towards your organization other than just a little bit of interest, and this is typically the first interaction that you have with this target. You may have 10,000, 100,000 subscribers that are receiving your messaging. You are fishing for them. It's kind of like fishing. They're in the lake. We're throwing the lure out to see if we get any bites. But these are just people who are passively seeing your marketing come in. They haven't made any further commitments beyond that. So think about them in that way. They're not in your CRM. You won't find them in your list of contacts or companies. They will be listed in the marketing audience, so you will have their email address and whatever name they gave you. But beyond that, you don't know any details about them. So you can add subscribers to a marketing audience without adding them into your CRM. If later down the road you do get a bite from a subscriber, they interact with you in some other way that means they are added to your CRM as a lead or a prospect, then yes, the platform will recognize that and they will be still a subscriber in that marketing audience, but then they will also be in your CRM if that becomes the case. Now understand that when you are adding targets as a prospect or a client, you can also add them as subscribers to marketing audiences, but you don't have to. So you can bring someone in just as a subscriber and they're receiving your marketing materials, but understand that a lead, prospect, or client can also be a subscriber because you want those people to receive marketing materials as well. Okay, I think that's clear. Let's move on to lead. Okay, so leads definitely are added to your CRM. And the best way to think about a lead is like an address book of people that you want to follow up with. You don't have much interaction with them, but you've qualified them in some way as being prospective future clients. Someone that you want to make contact with because they seem to have potential. So a good example would be if you are a web development or a marketing provider in a city and you're driving down the street, you might make a list or record audio as you're driving down the street and say, Hey, there's this business on the right side that I would like to talk to. Oh, that would be a good business to talk to. This one on the right side here, yes, for sure I could talk to them. On the left, yes, that's a good business. And so you're creating a list that's somewhat qualified to become one of your clients later. And these you can add into your CRM as a lead. And the CRM gives you the tools then to schedule follow-ups or schedule reminder events to yourself on your calendar to follow up or initiate a relationship with that lead. In general, this is one step higher than a subscriber, someone who just receives marketing material from you passively. You've now sort of identified them as a little bit more qualified than just a random subscriber or member of your target audience, and now they are a lead. Now, leads do not get access to your portal, so they don't receive a username or password. We're not to that point yet. The relationship hasn't developed to that point. But you can schedule events, you can add them to audiences, you can keep notes, and then eventually convert them to a prospect or a client. Now, it's important to say here that everyone or every industry has their own sort of definition for what a lead or a prospect is. Those titles, those names can be used somewhat interchangeably depending on the business, but the definitions that I'm explaining to you here today are the way that we interpret these, and so you may need to adjust a little bit how you think about leads and prospects to use the platform properly. But I'd encourage you not to get too caught up in the differences or the nomenclature. The structure really does follow a standard business logic. Okay, so now let's move to prospect. Prospects also are definitely added to your CRM. They're part of your CRM. They are one level beyond lead, especially in the fact that they can be given access to your portal. Now, this is optional. You don't have to invite them with a username and password, but you can. And you can give them access to specific resources that you define only for that level. That's completely up to you, but prospects definitely can be invited to the portal. Maybe you want to show them case studies, or maybe you want to show them some examples of your work, etc. But the goal there would be to bring them into the portal in a way that you are attempting to get them to the next level. You're using the portal as a tool to get them to the next level where they convert to a client, and you develop a profitable relationship with them. Functionally, prospects can be issued estimates, they can be sent proposals, etc. Those types of assets that you would need at this point in a relationship. Signing contracts, proposals, estimates that need approval or signatures before they can move on to the client phase. Those are all available to the prospect role, and that's what the use case is when you are inviting them into the portal or using those tools to interact with prospects. So that's clear with prospects. And then the next role is client, of course. So clients are definitely added to your CRM, yes. Clients can also, of course, be given access to the portal. Again, this is optional. Most people choose yes, but it's optional. You don't need to give them access. There are many ways to interact with them using the tools in SuiteDash where everything happens only by an email back and forth, and using tools that are non-logged or direct link type of tools. The very definition of clients is yes, you are in an active, profitable relationship with these targets, and yes, the client role is the highest role available for CRM targets. So when we say CRM targets, we mean members of the target audience that you're reaching out to, that you mean to make part of your CRM, that you mean to move towards this ultimate high role of client where you have an active, profitable relationship. Okay, so let's look at this next concept. Ready for your CRM or not ready? So this is just an idea that you need to understand. In your unique use case, you'll need to decide when someone is ready for your CRM. Maybe you want to address the target audience in a way that first you're just trying to create subscribers with a lead gen or something like that. So now you have a target audience, you have a marketing audience, you're using drip campaigns and email marketing, and they're just subscribers. And then not until they make a next move in a lot of cases is when you convert them to a lead. You can usually do this with an automation. And then based on some other threshold, you want to move them to prospect and then finally to client. You may want to use all of these levels. It may work for you to bring people in directly as a client or just as prospect first and then client. So just to say that there's no hard and fast rule that you have to start them in one place and move them through every single level towards client. But just analyze your use case and decide which of these levels works properly for you and then start to build your workflows around that. Now, an important thing to say here is that these roles of lead, prospect, and client are one way of categorizing your incoming CRM targets, as we discussed in the previous video. But they're not the only way. We'll talk later about circles and how those are very helpful at categorizing these CRM targets. But the roles can be used in the sense that the roles carry with them functionality limits, meaning that, for example, the lead does not have access to the portal, and prospects, for example, you can't create a project for a prospect, because by definition, a project means you're working with someone in an exchange of value situation, and that should be a client. So subscriber, lead, prospect, client is a typical CRM sales funnel type arrangement of roles, and you can use those to move your CRM targets towards that profitable relationship in whatever method that best fits your use case. Okay, let's move to the next concept, and that is companies versus contacts. Now, as you start to do business with these members of this target audience, they'll come to you through the funnels that you design. And depending on your business and your area of the world, you'll find that some of them will be companies and some of them will be what we call contacts or individuals. So the best way to think about this is from a tax standpoint, right? When you're doing business with a company, you will issue an invoice to the company and they will pay you with a company check that's drawn from a company bank account. That entire money trail and that entire relationship is between your company and that company. And that's the way the platform is set up. If you're dealing with companies, you'll want to add them as a company. You want to issue the invoice to the company, assign the project to the company, etc. And we'll talk more about how that works. But that's in contrast to if you're dealing with a contact with a single person who doesn't have a company set up maybe, or they're operating as a sole proprietor, then you're dealing with just the contact, and you can issue the invoice directly to that contact, the person with a first name and last name, and that is who you're doing business with directly. Let's move to the next concept, and I think it'll be a little more clear. So now let's talk about primary contact, and let's look at this situation where you're dealing with a company. As I just referenced, you're assigning the invoice to a company, you are creating a project for the company, but who are you actually communicating with? And that's where the concept of primary contact comes in. When you create a company, in order to actually interact with that company in the platform and start to use the toolkits with that company, you'll need to have a primary contact. That primary contact is a person with a first name and a last name, and most importantly, an email address. Yes, your business is primarily and directly with the company, but companies don't have fingers and they don't type on keyboards and they don't respond to emails. A person does that, okay? And that's going to be the primary contact. And the primary contact's relationship with the company is only that they interact as the company. Now, this is very helpful in the case that the primary contact that you have been dealing with decides to move upstate and raise alpacas and live in a yurt. Okay, well, that's fine. There will be another person that you then assign as the primary contact, and business will continue as usual because all the invoices will be assigned to the company, all the projects will be assigned to the company. And now the new primary contact can just sit down in the driver's seat of the company and take over from the old primary contact. And this can happen ad infinitum. So this structure sets you free from dealing with a specific person. You're actually dealing with the company, and the person that you're dealing with at the company can change over and over and over again. But all your paperwork and all your assignments and all your CRM and all your projects and invoices, they all are still just fine because they're directly connected to the company and not to that single person. So it's helpful to think of the company as maybe like a car, and the primary contact is just the person that sits in the driver's seat temporarily. That person can change, that person can change. Your business is with the company. All right, now let's take this logic to another level, and that is that in SuiteDash, one person can be the primary contact for as many companies as they need to be. So if you have one go-getter entrepreneur or someone who has a group of companies, you can do business with company A, company B, company C, But all the correspondence and all the interactions will be handled by the same primary contact. That's no problem because on their side, they have what's called a profile switcher. So when the contact logs in, they'll log in and then use the profile switcher to choose which company they want to represent. And when they represent the company, when they click that company, they're actually sitting down in the seat of the car and driving the company. It has nothing to do with them, nothing to do with their identity. They are working as the company, almost like they put a mask on and said, okay, I'm the company A now. And then they can switch. Now I'm company B. And they even have the capability to then switch and actually represent themselves personally as an individual if you need that. The best use case is usually CPAs, where they are doing taxes for, say, 3 companies and the personal taxes for the entrepreneur who started the 3 companies. In that case, yes, you can have that entrepreneur log in, represent themselves personally, and then use the switcher to easily move from one company to the other and do their business with you as the company. And all of this without any confusion, without any crossing of assets or information, without any data leakage from one to the other. Everything is completely clean and encapsulated just where it needs to be. And then again, if this person somehow becomes not the primary contact for company A or B, then on your side, you just change the primary contact and then they will not have any access. There will be no residual data or information in their account. The new person will then be the one who can use the profile switcher to represent the company and do business as the company. So it's quite an elegant system that solves many of the real-world problems that organizations like yours might encounter. Okay, let's move to the next concept, and that is circles. Okay, so circles are a group permissioning structure built into the CRM side. And what they do is they pass permissions or access to anyone that is inside the circle. Only prospects and clients can be parts of circles. Companies and contacts can be parts of circles. So a company A can be part of a circle, and then company B can be part of a circle. So it's important to understand that. And any one of your CRM targets can be a part of many circles all at one time. They can be part of 4 circles, 6 circles, 100 circles, it doesn't matter. Each circle will have its own implications as far as what they can see and what they can do and what they can access, and that will all be up to you. So this will become more clear as we start to explore a little bit more, but in general, circles designate where your CRM targets can go, meaning what pages or dashboards they see, what they can see, meaning what content they can see, and what they can do, meaning can they click this menu item or can they go to this part of a portal, etc. So you'll find circles all over the platform. And essentially another way to think about them, a good example is the wristbands that you might get at a concert, okay? So let's just say you go to a concert and you get a wristband for general admission, and they put, say, a red wristband on your wrist, okay? And then when you go to the bathroom or something and you come back, the security will only look at your wristband and they go, okay, I know where they're supposed to be able to go, and they can pass me and they're fine. Now let's say you run into a friend and he says, hey man, I can get you a wristband for the VIP, and then he gives you a gold wristband in addition to your red wristband, and now you're wearing a red and a gold. Now you can walk right into the VIP section because the security will see that gold wristband. They don't need to know your name. They don't need to know anything about you. All they're looking for is that wristband. And by definition, if you have that wristband on, you're allowed into that place. And that's exactly how circles work. The reason it's helpful is because they allow you to pre-create experiences based around the circle or circles only. You don't need to know who the person is that's going to come through next week or 5 weeks from now or 8 weeks from now through your workflow. You just build around the circles, and then you add these people to the proper circles on their way in, and then they will get the experience that's designed for the circles that they were added to. And this is a primary concept of SuiteDash and one of the main building blocks that lets you pre-create experiences that you're in control of for CRM targets that you're working with today and CRM targets that you're going to be working with down the road into the future. You can pre-create their experiences by building the experiences around the circles, or wristbands, if you will. And then as the targets come through your workflow, you'll know exactly what they're going to see because you designed it and you've added them into that particular workflow. So you'll find that circles are helpful when you are assigning dashboards or giving permission to certain portal pages. Even inside portal pages, you can show or hide specific rows of information based on circle affiliation. Menu items and sub-menu items can be shown or hidden depending on the circle or circles affiliation of the logged in user. You can grant access to shared file folders. You can limit what appointments can be booked. You can limit who this person can message, and even what marketing they receive. These are just a few of the items to highlight the use cases. But circles are the primary way that we can categorize your CRM targets, these members of the target audience, as they onboard through your workflows, and then control their experience to be exactly as you want it to be based on that categorization. And we're going to categorize them using circles. It's very easy to add and remove CRM targets from circles. And in fact, in every automation opportunity that you'll find, you can add or remove from circles in an automated way. So when you build your workflows, you can just move people from one circle to another in an automation, and you'll know what that means because you designed the workflow in context of that circle and the changes of circles through certain phases. Okay, I think that's about as clear as it can be without a bevy of examples, which we don't have time for in this type of video, but there are videos out there, and we'll highlight them for you that will help make this more clear. But just think about them in terms of the wristbands at a concert, and it'll become a lot more clear. The target is the person who's logged into the browser, just like we talked about logging into Facebook before. When they log in, we don't know who they are when they're logging in. When the target logs in, then we look and say, okay, what wristbands do they have on? Meaning, what circles are they affiliated with? And then we present the experience that you designed for that particular scenario. Okay, I think that's the best I can do. I'm confident that you have it now. Let's move on to the coordinator. Okay, the coordinator is a member of your staff, which can be you, or it could be another member of your staff, that serves as the point of contact for each CRM target. Coordinator is a required field, and so each CRM target will have a coordinator assigned. And the coordinator position gives us a definite point of contact with each CRM target that you can use dynamically to assign members of your staff to each CRM target. The coordinator can be changed at any time. You can do that manually or via automation. So if you have a staged onboarding where during phase 1 they need to have coordinator A, and then during phase 2 they should be associated with coordinator B who specializes in that phase, then you can do that. You can move them from phase 1 to phase 2 via automation, and while you're doing that, you can add an extra step in that automation to change their coordinator, and then instantly they'll have that coordinator instead of the one that they started with in phase 1. All right, so let's do a review of what we've covered. We covered the CRM target roles, and we've talked about what a subscriber is. The roles are lead, prospect, and client. We discussed that you should think about in what stage are they ready to be part of your CRM, or maybe they're just not ready yet and you just want to keep them in the marketing level using the subscriber. We've talked about companies versus contacts and the differences there. We introduced you to the primary contact and how that person is the communication contact really for a company. You know that multiple companies can be handled by one single primary contact. So that primary contact can have a login that allows them to access the portal, and then they can use the profile switcher to switch between the companies and handle business for each company in an individual way that's very insulated, and there's no data leakage from one to the other, and it's a clean structure where the primary contact can be changed at any time and nothing changes inside your structure. Everything remains very organized and properly associated with the correct entities. We've talked about circles and how circles help us categorize your CRM targets and put them into the proper experiences, give them the proper access, let them see the proper content, etc. And we've talked about the coordinator, who is the point of contact for your CRM targets. All right, so let's look at where we are in the training. We've covered the portal overview. We've spent a good deal of time understanding CRM concepts. It was kind of a long one, but these are really critical first principles that you need to understand. And so it was worth taking a little extra time to make sure that it was all clear. So in the next video, we'll handle forms and their various functionalities and make sure that's all very clear for you. Okay, everyone, thanks for your patience. I hope it was helpful. See you in the next one. Thanks, everyone.